This is a Q&A to follow up to my latest video, VeeFriends, This Changes Everything. Gary has dropped some crazy alpha on us that pretty much changes everything we thought we knew. So I wanted to put that in a video, which I did. You can see that video live right now. This is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions, and hopefully I can provide a little bit of insight, or I can hear from you some of the things that you're thinking about all this. So feel free to share, and very interested in that. I'm going to be talking and typing. I've got the chat here as well, so I'll be able to see you. You can see me. So love to connect with you about the alpha that Gary brought out today. I just think, man, we thought we had exactly what we needed, and then lo and behold, he comes in and changes it on us. Of course, right? That's what he does. So I do want to talk to you about that. I want to answer questions. If you haven't seen that video, I just uploaded it and shared it also on my Twitter. You can see that. You go to my YouTube channel, you can watch that video. Tried to make it short, just get the information that he brought out today. But this is an opportunity for us to kind of go back and forth about all that. So welcome to you guys coming in. Thanks for being here. Let me send out this tweet so I can make sure that we get people knowing that we're having this question and answering. So just following up on that video, if you would share it out as well, we can get folks in here. We can get more questions answered if you have some, right? If you don't follow me yet, you can follow me at BusyNFT23 on Twitter. Of course, add me in the VeeFriends Discord. I'm there all the time. And I'd love to chat with you one-on-one or all together in the group. So today we're just talking about the alpha. Give me half a second here. Let's see. Can never think of the right hashtags to put, right? Wonder if Gary's awake. We'll invite him, see if he comes. All right, what did Gary say? That's the question, right? That's the best question. So I did just do a video about that. So Gary basically said that we've been operating off the assumption that 15 frames match up to new characters when we're talking about burning for the new VF2 characters. Gary said that's not necessarily the case. He listed off 7 frames. He said hint and then listed 7 frame types, and did not list the other 8. He added additional 4 and said after that, but that doesn't tell us if they're the ones that do match up or the ones that don't match up. So that is game changing, because we had been thinking it was 15 to 15. I know I've said that many times. He kind of led us to believe that the frames matched up and did not call out that some would not. So there are plenty of people out here, including myself, who have specific frame types that he did not call out today. And I'm a little nervous. I mean, I was really hoping that the frames that I have are the ones that I needed to go for a frame. I knew it wasn't guaranteed, but I felt pretty confident that I had just as good a shot as anybody else to use my 5 frames to get a new character. He hasn't called out the frame. I have black frames, so he hasn't called out black, and I don't know what that means. So I am anxiously awaiting what he's going to say about that. Yeah, Crumb, people are going to be upset. I'm going to try not to be upset. I'm playing the long game, and it is very, very easy to get FOMO in this and to forget your strategy. So while I say this, this is for education, entertainment, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice here, but I think that all of us need to step back consistently from the alpha that gets dropped and the marketing that's kind of done toward this, and say, what is our strategy? Do we want to do this? I'll give you a great example. Gary sent out a thing about wine text recently, and was saying, hey, buy this wine. This is a great price, a great deal. And it was a great price and a great deal, but it's not part of my strategy. He may turn around and give people that bought wine something amazing for buying that, like he did with his books, but I'm not focused on that. That's not something that is part of what I want to do. So I've stayed away from it. And if it's something that fits you, great. And if you are rewarded by it, awesome. But that's my point about making sure you do your strategy, and you typically will turn out okay with that. You ask, Jonathan, do black frames not get a new character? I don't know. I just don't know. He didn't mention 4 different frames. He didn't mention champagne, neon, pearl, or black. Champagne, neon, and pearl we thought would be a very hard thing to burn 5 for, because he's been talking about 5 frames in a set. It'd be really hard to burn 5 champagnes, 5 neons for a new character. That new character would have to be amazing, but the value of it would have to be pushing close to 10 ETH to make it worth that. But black is not that case. Black is near the bottom. It's very common. I've probably got my black for less than 0.25, right? So it's surprising that that one wasn't mentioned. Was it an oversight? I don't know. Was it intentional? We just don't know yet. But the fact that he didn't mention it obviously makes those of us with black very nervous. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, Alex. Sorry, friend. If you watch my video that I just put out prior to this is the Q&A of that video. You'll see that he told someone who had gold that their chances of getting a VF2 new character were solid, like gold. That's the words he used. And then he turns right around and he doesn't mention gold in the set of 7. He mentions it in a follow-up tweet in the set of 4. I don't know what that could mean. With the set of 4, it feels like those are very common. Maybe those aren't going to be used. He said, could be they're not going to be used. Could be they are going to be used, and then the other 4 are not going to be used. We don't know yet, but I understand how you feel right now about this and feeling nervous. I certainly do as well. Chrome, you said new folks will be fine. I've been doing this for a while, so I'm used to all of it. Yeah, I got you. I understand that. When do we think Vcon tickets will be released? Do you expect sales on OpenSea before Vcon? Yes, certainly, Jamie. So I think Vcon tickets are going to be released probably before April 1st. That's my guess. Somebody asked him if we would have time to sell our Vcon tickets before VF2, and he said yes. So give me half a second. So he said yes, that you would. So that would have to be before April, when the burn sale. So we know April 5th is the whitelist time when you get selected for the whitelist. The burn sale is after that. You get 12 and a half days on the whitelist. I imagine before it goes to public mint, I imagine we're doing the burn sale before the public mint. That's my thought on it. So I think that the Vcon tickets are going to drop probably before April 1st. It's going to give you plenty of time to sell those on OpenSea if you want to, if you can, long before Vcon in May. So I could be wrong. It could drop it in mid-April, but I think you're still going to have at the very least, 2 to 3 weeks to try to sell those tickets. I think it's going to be more than that, but I think at the very least 2 to 3. Yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Do me a favor, if you enjoy my videos and the opportunity to chat like this, give me a thumbs up on the video, share it out so we can get some more questions, things that maybe you haven't thought of yet. That would really help. I am on baby duty right now, so if I hear a kid cry for whatever reason, I'm going to have to go handle that. I understand if you leave, but just wanted to throw that out there. Friends list released on the 5th. That's correct. Any idea when the mint date will be? If you're talking about the friends list mint, I would be shocked if it was more than a few days after that. You have to think he's got to give people 12 and a half days to do the mint on the friends list, and then the public mint. So the chart on the blog said April. It had a 4 by it, so it said whitelist chosen date 4/5, which is April 5th, and then it had the public mint 4 question mark, and then the friends list mint 4 question mark, then the public mint 4 question mark. So I think it's all happening in April. All of this is going to happen before VCon. So you will have the opportunity to get VF2 before VCon, and we don't know the exact dates yet. He's still giving news about Patience Lava. Could that be a play for the frames that he didn't mention? Would be really cool if Patience Lava used a Joker card. Yeah. So great point, Jonathan. And in my last video, I talk about that briefly. I literally just posted it 5 minutes before this, so you probably haven't seen it yet. But It seems like there's going to be a couple options. Whether, he had said that 5 is a base. It's a solid base from which to burn from to get your new character. But if you think about everything that we do in the NFT world has rarities and all that, the core of whatever these new characters are, you probably need 5 frames for whatever those 5 are. Let's say 5 emerald. And then where does Patience Lava come in? Maybe it is like a kicker, where if you want either a character that doesn't have a frame match up to it, right? Because we know that 15 don't match to 15 now. So let's say it's 10 to 15. So either this emerald frame that matched up to one of these 15, maybe it matches up to 2, but that second one is a more rare version or a more rare pose or a different background, and you need a kicker. Could be the Patience Lava kicker that gets you that. It also could be that instead of the same frame matching up to 2 characters, you have to have those kickers or a different combination of tokens pushed in there to be able to get those additional characters. We just don't know. So whether it's, or maybe those characters that don't, maybe that Patience Lava is a kicker for a more rare version of that character. So Emerald matches up to one of the 15. Instead of Emerald matching up to a second, maybe that Emerald matches up to a more rare version, and the Patience Lava gives you that more rare version. Sorry if that was unclear. I think I said what I wanted to say. Ask me if I wasn't clear on that, and I'll try to clarify. 2 different scenarios I tried to give there. All right, so just kind of recapping for folks that have come in, Gary changed the game on us with the burn for VF2. It's not 15 to 15, 15 frames to 15 characters. He called out 7 specific frames. I'm trying to remember. I have it here. I want to make sure I say it right because I don't want to give you the wrong info. So someone asked him, did the frames match up? And he said, not necessarily. And then he called out emerald, rainbow, galaxy, caviar, fur, granite, and marble. Yeah, thanks, Crumb. See you, man. And then those were the 7 that he called out as a hint. To us, if you're watching that, you have to believe that those 7 are frames that you can burn for new characters. And then he followed up with, where did it go? Sorry, lost it. I want to make sure again that I tell you exactly right. Silver and wood, clear and gold, and then So does that to you mean those 4 don't match up to characters, or does that mean those 4 in addition to the previous 7 do match up to characters? The reason I think those 4 don't is because someone had asked him about, does wood still burn for VF2, and he said maybe not, and that's when he got into not all the frames match up. So wood is in that set of 4, silver, wood, clear, and gold, where he has said maybe wood doesn't match up to a burn character. But gold is in there as well, where he told someone who asked, do I have a solid chance that, or do I have a chance to burn for a VF2 new character? He said solid like gold. So it feels like it goes either way there. Not really sure what it is exactly. So we're going to figure it out. I think in the coming days, it's going to be very clear. But if you have frames that weren't listed, you're obviously very nervous today. Jamie says that to me is those 7 frames get to burn first, and if there's any left, then those 4 frames will get to go. Okay, that's fair. A couple videos back, I talked about, I think that the Vcon burn sale gave us an insight into how the VF2 burn sale is going to go, in that it's not going to be all 15 characters open up at the exact same time on the same day and everybody rushes. I think it's going to be probably over the course of time. Now, whether it's every hour a character gets released, every 6 hours, or if it's every day like they're doing now with the Vcon burn sale, that could be the case where when you talk about going first, day 1, Patience Lava has to be included in whatever you burn, and Patience Lava is going first, if that makes sense. To me, that fulfills that hint and gives us a little bit of parity between the Vcon sale and the VF2 burn sale. I just don't see them doing something completely different. Could be wrong. So could be the case. But I like your theory as well, that those leftover 4 can go if there's anything left, which be surprised. I think Pearl might still be used for new character burns. He answered me saying a new character be chosen for me. Yeah, you're right, Matt. Matt, I remember that. So um, I wonder if at that time he didn't they hadn't made up their mind about which frames and which characters. But I think that confirms at the very least that a character matches up to a frame, right? If you have fur, you're getting the fearless fairy. You're not getting the very, very, very lucky black cat, right? Um, so to me, I read that as frames match up to characters, not specifically that Pearl. And maybe he looked at it and said, "You said Pearl." Maybe he just saw frame in his mind and said, "Yes, frame. It'll be chosen for you." Maybe I'm reading too much into it. If he did say Pearl and he hasn't said it, it doesn't match up. So certainly could. I think you're still open there on that. It's a really good point. And thanks for reminding us about that. There's so much. Gary's got like 18,000 things that he has written in the chat if you search his name. So remembering all of that is challenging. That's what I try to do in my videos, and I try to put it down as quickly as possible so we don't forget it and it's there for us. What other questions do you guys have about this? How many of you are holding only frames that weren't mentioned? Right? Which is just terrible. I feel awful, and part of me wants to go and flip and try to do that. But again, I'm trying to remember what my strategy is. At the very least, I'm still going to mint as many as I can on the friends list. If I don't get to burn for a new character, I'll be upset about that. But we'll move forward without that, right? That's not my ultimate goal. How many of you are going to Vcon? That's very interesting. I hope to see you there. I burned on a live stream. I burned my 5 wood tokens on day 1 to get my ticket to Vcon. I'm actually going to use the ticket, but I think I've actually talked to a few people who, when it was silver frames, they bought a second ticket so that they could maybe flip it, hold it. I don't know what they're going to, or maybe take a friend with them. But good opportunity. There still exists. 7 pearls, kind of steep, but you could still get there if you want to. Jonathan, black frames can be the best play too because it's been the odd one out with the rest of the elite frames. It did get mentioned. It could. And he said things to that effect. He said things like, if I want to, I can make the most common frame match up to the most rare, basically. I'm paraphrasing that. So he said he certainly could do that, and it wasn't called out. Now, earlier in the week, he did say, I like black frames right now. I forget exactly. I'll get you the quote. But someone asked him about black frames, and I think he said, as of right now, right? He said, I like black frames for sure as of this hour. And then he doesn't call it out when it's time to burn. Come on, Gary, give us what we need here. So I would be ecstatic, and I wonder if he's leaving it out intentionally to see what people do. If people are going to drop it and try to get rid of it. If you look at the floor right now, it's nothing but clear frames. People obviously believe that clear is not going to be used. Let's see. Well, now it's all wood and clear. Yeah, wood, clear. Wow. Just tons of people dumping stuff here. So clear for days. There's a couple blacks down there. Okay, I see a bunch of blacks now. So that's what's on the floor right now. And so people are reading it as he didn't say my frame. So it's not going to be something that I can burn for. I wouldn't, I'm not. So it's not that I wouldn't, I'm not like losing my mind right now and freaking out and going to swap my frames to try to get one of those other ones. Would I love to have one of those other ones? Yes. But I just don't know that we have enough information for him to say, I have black, so black frames don't play, or neon don't play. I cannot imagine that Champagne, Neon, and Pearl would be left off of the opportunity to get a VF2 new character. I just don't know how it's going to be done. I certainly don't think it's going to be 5 frames, but I just can't believe that he would not use those. So it may be, I think it's harder to get a Champagne today than it is to get Pearl frames today. So it could be that Pearl or Champagne is a kicker, right? You have 5 of a kind, and then you have to have a Champagne on there. So that would be the inverse to needing 5 champagnes and then something that you can get easily. I think that's much more likely to have the champagne or the neon be the kicker than the other way around. All speculation, of course, as we've been doing here for a while. It was a shock today when he said that it's not going to be 15-15. It really just throws into a wrench into how this could possibly be the case. And so we're just trying to parlay the best we can. If those 7 that he called out are the ones that match up, is it I can get Fearless Fairy with fur, or I can get Fearless Fairy and the Red Devil with fur? I don't think so, but we just don't know yet. Gary's play because he will then come back and say book games played forever and you guys doubted me, and boom, here comes the news about the rest of the frames. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And so this comes back to know your strategy, play your strategy, don't lose your mind, and don't sell things at a loss just because you're afraid that you got left behind for something. It certainly is possible that the VF floor will drop right after. Right after things mint, people don't know what it's worth. And as soon as book games dropped in January, the floor was really, really high. And then a week later, it was really, really low. And you had a great opportunity that if you bought 5 wood frames then, you paid half an ETH for all of that. And so you had a great opportunity to get stuff early. I think VF2 is going to start off really, really high, probably sit there for a couple weeks, drop down, and then Vcon is going to bring us some news that's going to push it right back up again. I really think Vcon is going to be a huge driver for VeeFriends book games, VeeFriends Series 2, all things Gary V. So much opportunity for partnerships and stuff there. So, hey, thanks, Alex. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, what other kind of questions do you guys have? Please be sure to go back and watch that video. I lay it out there very clearly. I'm actually reading through it. I didn't post the overlays because I wanted to get the information quickly, but you'll hear it word for word that way. I've tried to repeat as much as I can remember here, but I laid it out there. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Thanks for being here, guys. I know it's late, so typically I'm on Eastern time, so it's like 1 a.m. right now, something like that. And I don't ever get to talk to you guys. If y'all are in Asia or Europe, give me a shout out, give me a thumbs up, give me something, let me know. Appreciate you guys being here. I know this is a worldwide thing, a lot of folks in the US, but appreciate all of those who are outside of the US that are still participating. Anybody outside of the US going to VCon? I know someone is traveling. I think they said like 36 hours worth of travel to get there, which is wild. I feel like the 5 that I have to do is too much, but that's just me. Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Really, that's awesome, man. From India. Appreciate you being here on this. Again, we've got 300 and something, I don't know, 15,000 people in the Discord. There's like 500 of us that talk from time to time, but there's folks from everywhere, and I think that's really, really cool. So just to want to make sure, I want to make sure I hit on everything. The VCon sale is up today, 7 pearls is it. There's possibility that Gary might airdrop the rest of his tickets. There'll probably be around 300 left. There's a possibility. He said he's going to hold them, and he certainly could. But I think he wants to pack out the stadium and have everybody there. So I don't know how he's going to do that. Maybe he just gives them away to friends and celebrities and people that he wants to attend to bring star power. Maybe not. But now's your chance to get your ticket, or you're going to be paying on the open market. On the open market, I have a VCon ticket. If I were trying to flip it, and I think I paid 1.5 ETH roughly for mine, if you look at the frames that I bought and when I bought them, because I needed like 2 more to complete my set. I'm not selling for less than that, right? Why would I do that? So especially the hype that Gary's bringing it to it, I think people that have paid 2.5, maybe 3 ETH, certainly if you're doing pearls, you're paying way more than that, maybe close to 4 or 5. You're going to want to sell that ticket for more than 4 or 5. You're not going to take a loss on it. So if you want to go to VCon, if you want to have that ticket, get it now before it's too late. Yeah, thanks, Shiva. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for being here. I don't know if you guys are like me. I'm a night owl. I just like being up late. Works for me. Lets me do all this while everybody's sleeping. Let me give a quick plug to my channel. Lots of book games alpha. I try to cover anything that Gary says about our investments. These are financial investments, pretty heavy for a lot of us. And I want to make sure that anything that comes out that could impact that. So on my channel, I try to obviously track Discord, but Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, his podcast, other people's podcasts that he's on, other Discords that he's in. Gary says something that I think could affect our investments. I'm talking about it, I'm tracking it, and put it on my channel. So hopefully you find that valuable, and would love to have you subscribe and stick around for that. Take your chances on OpenSea, Jamie. Yeah, I think there certainly will be people. So like I said, I got mine for about 1.5. There'll be people who got an extra, maybe an extra 5. There's some whales out there for 1.5 or 2, and they're trying to sell it for 2.5, as opposed to the people who are trying to pay 7 pearls. 7 pearls a lot. I offered, actually, I'll sell you my ticket for 6 pearls. How about that? I'll give you my ticket for 6 pearls, and then I'll go get one on OpenSea for less than that. I don't know what Gary was thinking about that, but I just can't see people doing 7 pearls. But let me throw this in, and I put this in a recent video. On the wood burn day, the first day, we know that there were people burning conviction with wood frames, multiple conviction tokens with wood frames. Convictions are not less than 1 ETH. I don't even know what they are right now. I was looking at it then. The floor for conviction right now is 1.05 and then 1.10 and then 1.18. So it got a couple on the low side, but at least an ETH, and there are people that were burning those for a Vcon ticket. I don't know why, when you could burn 3 wood frames for that price, or if you bought them soon enough, you could burn 4 or 5 for that price. So there may be people who have pearl frames are like, yeah, this is a great deal, I'll do it. And maybe they got those pearl frames at a great price, maybe they didn't. But I just can't imagine burning pearl frames. Now, very early on, probably the beginning of February, I was screaming from the rooftops how pearl was a deal. And according to its rarity level and where it was at, it was like 0.4 at the time, which is great. But that's still, wood obviously trumps that if you're trying to burn something. Let's see what pearl's at right now. So there were people who got pearls at a good price. Right now it's at 0.64. And there's a couple of those, and then it goes to 0.69. So you're paying 3.5 ETH right now if you're burning. Oh no, 7 times 0.7. Oh no, you're paying 5. Yeah, one day I'll learn how to do math and I'll be good. So 7 times 7 is 4.9. So you're paying 5 ETH right now, when you could have paid 2.8 at the time I was calling it out. So there may be people who feel like that's the right amount for them. And I think Vcon is going to be very valuable for a lot of people and a lot of things. Depends on what your strategy is, what you're trying to do in this space, who you're trying to collaborate with, the opportunity to meet people from all over the world. You have no idea the relationships that can be built and the opportunities that can spawn from a conference like this. So to me, that has a lot of value. But if you're just going to hang out and you just want to have a good time, maybe it's not worth that price to do that. There's some other closer things you can do. Let me catch up here. Large number of speakers not announced will definitely drive the cost up. Yes. I wonder, Jim, do you think he's holding back the biggest name for last? Because there's some huge names. Right? Snoop is obviously a household name, certainly after the Super Bowl. But Beeple's going to be there, and there's influencers like is it Jake Paul or Logan Paul? It's one of the Paul brothers. Some people hate him. You love to hate him. Charlie D'Amelio is a very popular influencer. So there's lots of really, really big names that people are going to recognize. And then a lot of people in the space that maybe you don't know who are building something new and amazing that we're going to find out about. So I'm really excited to see all that. Ryan says, I got frames that may not be able to be burned for new characters now. Me too. I'm not going to sell and buy different ones. Me either. I'll mint a friends list VF2 and hold the ones. That's Ryan. That's my philosophy. That's where I'm at right now as well. But Gary could come back and say, oh yeah, I was just kidding. Black frames too, pearl frames too, right? Do I think he forgot about it? No, Gary has said he never forgets. So I don't think he forgot about it. I think he was intentional. I don't know why. He actually, on March 5th, he said, I forget about nothing. To answer that question. So no, I don't think he forgot. Feel like 7 pearls was a way to stop people from burning. Would be really surprised even if 2 people burn. Yeah, but then why, Jonathan, why do you think he wanted to stop people from burning if it's a burn sale and intentional? Now, if you look at it from the other perspective, you needed 13 tokens previously. So it's still a little bit of a sale because in those 13, you had to have a gratitude and conviction, right? So a gratitude we've already saw, or excuse me, a conviction we saw was easily over 1. You could almost get 2 pearls for that price, right? And then a gratitude right now, the floor is 1.2. So you can almost get 2 pearls for that price. So those 2 tokens of the 13 would have cost you 4 pearls. And then do we think the other 11 would have been worth 2? Certainly. So to be fair, it still is a sale, albeit not as good as the wood. And there's the wood regret that he talked about. Thanks, Ryan's Logan. Yeah. I'll challenge him to a boxing match when we get there, mate. Let's see. Don't you think that the market will be saturated with Vcon tickets because each V1 is getting 3 tickets? Wouldn't it be amazing if for some reason Logan saw this and he was like, "You're on. I'll take you in a ring. Let's go." I just thought of that. It'd be funny. Don't you think the market will be saturated with Vcon tickets because? Okay, so Bird, I don't think that all 3 Vcon tickets are coming at the same time. I think year over year you will get your ticket right before the conference. If you saw him say that he was airdropping all of them at the same time, I haven't seen that. I'd like to see that, but I think he's leaving his options open and the artwork open, right? So the artwork that they're doing for this V1 or excuse me, this VCon first inaugural event is going to be special and something that he's very excited about. But I think he probably hasn't even thought about what VCon 2023's art or who that is yet is going to be. They're probably still getting the venue. I don't know, but so I don't. Those extra tickets aren't going to be around, and each ticket is unique to the year. So in April, you're not going to see VCon 2023 buy my NFT right now. You're not going to see that. I just can't imagine that would be the case. Gary needs to update the NFTs and cards on his book games exchange. The values don't match up anymore. I agree, Jamie. And I wonder if people have seen that there are other projects that are copying the book games exchange. So I know World of Women Pixies is actually creating, and they gave a shout out to book games for the exchange, and they're creating something very similar. And they talked about continuously updating theirs to have parity with the value of their tokens. So I think there's something to do with tax laws about why they just can't take money that comes into their project and throw it back into back to their holders. So they're doing it this way and offering opportunities that way. Can you guys hear me fine? I hope you can. I'm pretty sure you can. Let me know if not. That would be terrible. I'm just talking for a half hour. I think he wanted to create FOMO now. People will think twice next time there's an event sale like this. It's a good point. Book games are forever. He said he's going to test our patience. And I think it's a really good point to make that he's demonstrating who he intends to be going forward. So certainly could be the case. How's my VF1 purchase coming along? Yeah, Ryan. So I ran into a snag on the logistics side of that. There's transfer limits. It literally would take me 4 months of doing a transfer limit every month for my bank to get it there. So then there's the wire transfer stuff. And I think that as I take my own advice about not having FOMO and sticking to my strategy, as I sit here today, it doesn't match up with my current strategy. Certainly want a VF1. I definitely am going to get there one day. Today, it doesn't match up. And I think from the buildup and the hype and all that, you can see that the VF1 price actually came down a little bit after that information was released on that Monday. So I don't think it's going to be out of reach the way some people do, that it could possibly be too expensive, too much. We can't get there. I think it will still kind of match up to parity. And if I hold these book games token long term, maybe I can flip and get my way there. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you confirming that. So there's so much to think about with these games and the way that things are being done. I thought that today's information about the burn sale really took us one step closer. That's the one thing we don't have full information on. If you remember, before we knew about how the friends list worked, we were all speculating that you had to choose between burning, and once you burned, those tokens were gone, and you didn't have friends list tokens. And then they came in and said, you're going to get your friends list spots chosen first. Then you can do whatever you want with the tokens, and then you can decide to burn, which is a better outcome, but we had no idea. And then we also thought it was possible that your whitelist, your friends list spot was connected to your token. So then, hey, this token allows me to mint a VF2, I'll sell it to you. And it has extra value, and that price would be super huge. But that's not the case. It's attached to the wallet. So there's a lot of speculation that we had that could have certainly been the case, but it wasn't. It's the same thing with the burn sale. We've got a lot of speculation. Some of it is true. Like, I don't think what he said today completely destroyed what we believed, but it's like we had half truth, right? We knew the frames matched up. We thought it was 15 to 15. Right now, we think it's maybe 7 to 15. And then some other thing that we don't know yet is going to be released. But also, having the Vcon sale first gave us insight, I believe, into what the VF2 burn is going to look like. So we're getting bits and pieces. That's how Gary likes to do it. He's a master marketer. It's really good. Crypto buy limits are killer. Yes, they are. I think you can do a wire transfer and move more money that way. My bank knows that I'm not happy with them. 13 book NFTs exchange for a Vcon ticket at that time is almost the same as burning 5 NFTs now because of the FP. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing like the fear of missing out or the price increases. Asking to burn 7 now makes no sense to me. Yeah, I mean, as Gary says all the time, he doesn't control the market, and he's got to make his games work the way that they work with what the market is. So you can't fault him for that. He still comes up with plans and adjusts accordingly. Okay, the floor price, thanks. But the floor price has risen all the way around. So if you bought early and flipped those, it wouldn't hurt you as much to do it now with the higher prices of the pearls. It would kind of be the same parity that way. But I agree with what Jamie said, that he really needs to update the exchange. Those price things don't match up the same, right? I think Bored Ape has actually had come down a little bit for a little while, but the cost or the exchange for all of them was high. And with the appreciation of the book game token value, you have those Bored Apes actually costing more to us to buy, but being worth less to those holders. So there is a little bit of disparity there that needs to be corrected. And I completely agree with that. I haven't checked it very closely, so maybe they are adjusting. Maybe, originally MFers cost like 2, those NFTs cost 2 tokens. Maybe now with the increase in price in those, maybe they're 3 tokens. Maybe, but have you checked? Like I haven't checked, so I just don't know. Maybe that's being updated and they have somebody looking at that. Maybe not. I bet rare frames will be 5 to burn and less rare will be 7. That's fair. That's fair. And also, we've been talking about the theory. Maybe it's 5 with some type of kicker that's not a part of that frame set. So we saw that in the Vcon burn sale that it was 7 of any frame, right? So maybe it's 5 of this one frame and you need 2 more of any other additional frames to it. Some maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, agreed. Sorry, trying to keep my throat going. I also, in the future, will be doing some Twitter spaces. Really would love for you guys to join. I'm obviously working on this YouTube channel and really enjoy the opportunity to put it here and keep it here. Always know how to go back and get this information that we need. But Twitter Space allows me to hear from you as well, and I don't have to talk the entire time myself. Would love to get the back and forth going there. So we'll schedule some of those. I'll try to schedule it well enough in advance that everybody will be able to join, and try to pick an evening time, like 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern. Hopefully that's not too early for those of you who aren't in the US and not too late for those of you who are. All right. What else we got? Any other questions that you guys are talking about? Any updates on the Humility Lava Silver, which was hyped earlier? Yeah, that's the one where he said pies bake best in silver ovens. He said not long after that, it might have been the same day, it might have been in the next day, and you can search this. He said you'll find out about that in 2023. So you got at least 9 months to worry about that. And if you're holding those now, people have likely forgotten about them. Let's take a quick look at the Humility. And he said you do need lava because you need fire to burn, and then silver. So those are sitting at 0.43 right now, which is a little above the floor, but certainly not where it was when the statement was made. 0.43 is not much above the floor. Well, 0.35 is the floor right now. All right. You should tell Gary about your channel if you meet him at Vcon. So, Jamie, Gary's going to know about my channel because I'm going to be wearing a camera the entire time I'm there and live streaming it. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. I haven't done that before, but very excited about the opportunity to share Vcon with everybody. And I'll make it very known and let everybody know exactly how to access that. But I plan to live stream all day, every day. And you guys will be right there with us the whole time, which I think would be cool. You can check in and out as you want to and get to kind of see all the things that we see. You probably don't want to watch me eat, but other than that, I'm going to do my best to constantly be sharing the information as quickly as possible. When I get back, maybe I'll edit it and add some overlays and things like that, and like best of. But it's going to be going hopefully the whole time, and really excited about that. I think the batteries last 8 to 12 hours. We'll see. Yeah, I still have to figure all that out. Yeah, appreciate you guys. I really appreciate your support, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to offer the best information I can as quickly as possible. The thing about this is everything's so time sensitive, right? We know that the burn's coming up, but Gary says something. It's very easy to forget. It's very easy to be late to the party so you don't get the advantage of the information. If you don't live in the Discord, and some people don't have time to do that, you're going to miss it. And then you're going to look and see the floor is so high and you say, what happened? So I'm always trying to get this info out as fast as possible to you. And that's why we do things like this. I'm going to live stream more often, and then I'll make those kind of summary videos as I can with overlays and all the clips and all that. Let's see. OLY. What's OLY? Why am I not understanding that phrase? Lava Hollow Spectacular are the ones to get some limelight and not the rest. Only. Okay. You feel like only Lava and Hollow Specs are the ones that get limelight. Yeah, the reason for that is that Hollow is obviously the most rare background. Lava is the most common. So he's been talking about using that for burn opportunities. And Hollow just gets loved because it's the rare one, right? It should be more valuable than the rest. Haven't heard about the rest yet, the diamond, the gold, unless it's on a specific token. But I think we will, right? It's so hard. It feels like it's been years, but it's been 2 months that this project has been off the ground. 2 months. VeeFriends is not even a year old, but in NFT world, we feel like we're ancient. But we'll give it time. It'll be there. Careful about going to the bathrooms. Yeah, I know about the doctor disrespect thing. You're absolutely right. I will make sure I'm an expert before I turn that camera on. I want to know how to do everything I need to do with that rig that I'm going to have, and make sure I do not mess that up. Yeah, he didn't just get in hot water. He got banned from Twitch, I think, for doing that. I wonder if people will come dressed as VeeFriends. That's funny. I hadn't even thought of that. I'm certain they will. I think there will be some people certainly wearing their hoodies, maybe the jacket that the gift goats have. There's going to be a group of 555 gift goats that are wearing their jackets standing there. It's like their own thing. They see each other and they run together. That's going to happen. Would be interesting to flip some VF2s and reinvest in book games, stacking Silver Humility, Lava, and others he mentioned like Gold. Yeah, I think so here's a great question. I think it's going to benefit everybody, and I hear it all the time. Is VF2 the play, or should I just hold on to all these book game tokens that I've been stacking to get mint slots? So with the friendsless slots, I get to keep my book games tokens. So should I burn those for new characters, or should I keep those and try to arbitrage just book games or see what's next down the road? Because there's going to be more burn opportunities, obviously, a 40-year game, and the deflationary pressure that's going to be on the system. So we already saw, what was it, almost 3,000 or something like that burned for the Vcon sale. So, there will be a time where we'll have half the number of tokens we started with. That's years down the road, but those tokens then will become more valuable. What What would it be to be the last book games token in existence 40 years from now? How much is that worth? So a lot of people have been saying maybe the play is to hold your tokens and not burn for a new character. We just don't know. I think that the new characters are going to rise very quickly and then drop off for a little bit until the IP is developed. I mean, we all understand these are cartoon character opportunities. This is collectibles and toys. Somebody posted on Twitter the other day that there is a patent for toys, collectibles, and things like that by VeeFriends. So they're obviously thinking about marketing this IRL and offering that. And as they do that, and the characters grow in culture, the NFTs are going to grow as well. So that will happen. But in the meantime, book games is going to constantly be churning. And how much faster will book games grow than will VF2? So people have asked, should you get a VF1? I think you can get a VF1 if you're willing to hold long term, because that's a big investment. And for that type of investment to double is going to take a lot longer time than for a book games to double. We saw Gary came in the chat the day he said Patience Lava, it quadrupled in an hour. You're not going to get that from a VF1. It's not going to quadruple in an hour. So maybe that is a play, and it's certainly something to think about and put as a part of your strategy. Give a shot to Vcon 2023. Great, Shivam. And it may not be in the US, so maybe it will be closer and give you a better opportunity. Let's see. Hey, Mitt, hey, will you have a drone also? Show us the stadium. I don't have a drone, but that would be awesome. I haven't thought of that. So maybe I don't know if they let you have a drone. Of course, in Minnesota, it's a dome, right? So you're not actually going outside. I mean, you got to go outside to get inside, but while we're in there, it's all indoors. So I don't know how they would feel about drones flying around in there. Saw Gary drop 5 frames today on Discord. Emerald Galaxy Carry. Yeah. He dropped 7 actually, and we think those are the frames, Chris. Yes. So right before this was out, probably an hour ago, I put out a video talking exactly about that, quoted him word for word on the alpha that came out today. So you may want to take a glimpse at that. We've been talking about that here, but yes, those frames we feel like are the ones that match up. That's the best information we have right now. It kind of makes us feel like half of what we thought was true, right? We thought it was 15 frames, 15 characters. He calls out 7. So maybe it was half right. We just don't know about the others yet, but it seems like that's the going theory now, as of today. Everything has changed as of today. So go back and check that video. Let me know what you think about that and see if that answers your question. Interesting idea, David, about not holding VF2s, investing in more book games. Yeah, Ryan just talked about that. Someone is going to be wearing that signed up at the elephant card in a card case necklace. Bird, I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know what security is going to be like. Maybe Logan, because he thinks he's got boxing skills to back it up, but I'm not putting that on my neck. All it takes is for one guy to bump me here and the other one to snag it there, and it's gone. I don't know. I would hope that wouldn't be the case. I think everybody there is going to be on the up and up, but you just never know about that kind of stuff, because those are when people want something really, really nice and it's there available to them. Hopefully people do the right thing. I don't know. I would take a picture of it and just kidding. That's an NFT joke. All right. Burning frames, like a no-brainer to me because of the limited supply of new characters. And it's really possible to get the book games tokens for a bit cheaper when Friends List comes out and after the VF2 launch. So Jonathan's saying that the book games floor is going to drop. You got to burn tokens for a VF2. That's what he believes. That's a good strategy too. This is why it's so important. People ask me, I get DMs every day and people say, hey, what about this? And I pretty much answer the same way every time. It depends on your strategy. What are you trying to do? Should I burn for Vcon? Do you want to go to Vcon? Are you going to go or are you trying to flip it? Those are different considerations when you're making a decision like this. Burning for a new character, are you going to hold it or are you going to flip it? Those are considerations to think about when you're burning for things like this. So it always depends, and I always think you should evaluate your strategy. And a good thing to do is write your strategy down before you read any more alpha or see any more videos or read any more Twitter. write your strategy down of what you want to do, understanding that these are large financial investments. Right now, the floor for book games is $1,000 a token, 1,000 US dollars per token. That's a lot of money. So write your strategy down on a piece of paper, and then when the next alpha comes out, pull out your paper, read it, and see if whatever you're wanting to do or being incentivized to do matches up to your strategy. Because if it doesn't, you're having FOMO and you're making irrational decisions, and you need to come back down to earth. It's just good practice for everybody to do. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for checking that out. Follow me if you don't. I appreciate that. Also, guys, if you're having fun, give me a thumbs up on here. Feel free to share it out so we can get as many people in here. That would really help. Ryan says, just like Logan walked out of his boxing match, Floyd with the Charizard on his neck. Yeah, that's probably what he's thinking. So he also runs with a huge entourage too. I wonder how that's going to work for these celebrities, right? Are they going to be able to bring in 10 people to surround them at all times? I don't know. They're all going to have Vcon NFTs? Someone in the Discord said that 7 of those frames may also be a combination for burning for the most rarest new character. Okay, so Vince, you're saying that the ones that weren't mentioned, the Champagne, Neon, Pearl, and Black, 7 of those could be for the most rare? Is that what I'm hearing you say? It could be possible. I don't know. We just don't know. And also what we don't know, I mean, we've had insights into some of the VF1 characters that have been VF2'd. That's a verb now. It's been VF2'd. Series 2 me. And we just don't know what the new characters are going to be. You know, are they going to be in the classic pose, the competing pose, the evolving pose? What's their background going to be? Do they get unique backgrounds that other characters don't get, like the original VF1s that have come over? We just don't know that stuff, and then what the requirements would be for that. So if, let's say, new characters all have new backgrounds that original characters don't. We've already seen a bunch of backgrounds. Let's say there's 15 for the VF1 that transfer over to VF2. Does the new VF2 characters, do those have special backgrounds? Like maybe there's an additional 3, just like in the specials for book games, there are 3 attributes that don't exist in the other 13. Is it possible that there's maybe 3 backgrounds that don't exist for the rest of Series 2? And so if you can get a core background that's common with a new character, maybe you just burn frames. But if you want a new background to go with a new character, maybe that's something. I don't know that there's new backgrounds. I'm just speculating, but would be something, could be something. All right, the value of the card that went up after that too. Yeah. If do we know if the Goo Vcon tickets have any more utility or different art than the normal Vcon ticket? They do have the Goo stamp on them, so they will have that thing. If you've seen the VF1s that are Gary originally owned, they have the little yellow with GOO on them in the top right corner. So there will be that, but they're not intended to have any more utility. And people have asked that, and Gary has said no. You're saying the ones that were mentioned are the 7. Sorry, Vince. Sorry if I misunderstood you. 7 of those frames may also be for burning for the most rare. Okay, that's fair. And in that case, we already thought those were the ones that were going to be burned. So the 7 that were listed, we think are the ones that match up. So if it's 7 instead of 5 for the more rare, that makes sense too. More expensive, you need more tokens. Yeah, lots of big speculation I'm making, David. So we've been here an hour. I feel like I have freedom to just guess and speculate with you now, right? We've talked about the stuff that we know for sure. But certainly would be wild. So I think Gary has given us a lot today. I'm pretty confident that when he knows something, he doesn't hold it in very well. So if he knows some more, I would expect to see some more in the Discord. The last couple of weeks, he's been wild in the Discord, just always in there, constantly, sun up to sundown, makes it very hard to track. But if you hear him say like, hey, I'm having a meeting, or we're talking Series 2 today, stick around, because that's when stuff comes out very, very quickly. He typically can't hold that in. You think he's saying we need 1 of every 7 frames mentioned today to get the rare? Okay. So putting what Jonathan has said and what Vince has said together, they're saying the 7 that he listed, right? The Emerald, the Galaxy, the Marble, those 7 that he listed, it's possible for the most rare character, you need one of each of those. So maybe not even those match up to the 15 characters. My mind's blown now. That's a really great point. Vince, the photographer, came up with a really great point. Let me say it again. We thought that the 15 characters matched up to the 15 frames. We know that that's not true today. Gary said not all of the frames will be in play. Then he listed off 7 frames, and we're saying, hey, maybe these 7 will be in play. But Vince put it out there, and Jonathan clarified for me that maybe those 7 that he listed aren't 7 that match up to 7 characters. Maybe there's a ultimate rarity or a high level rarity character, and you need one of each of those 7 frames to get that character. That would be wild, and certainly would drive the floor for all of those through the roof on that day. That almost makes me want to go get one of each, you saying that, and certainly could be the case. So hadn't thought of that, and I think that's a really good point, that could be in play. We'll see. So then when he said clear, or what was it? I want to say it right. When he said silver and wood, clear and gold, those 4, I wonder what those 4 go to. Now you got me thinking a totally different way. So this is why we need as many people in here, because you guys are hearing something that I guarantee I haven't heard, and I watch this chat constantly. So Vince, great thought. Thank you guys for bringing that into here. I'm definitely going to have to think about that and bounce that off a few people to see if that's something that maybe Gary has hinted at in some other way that we haven't heard, and we can piece that together. I like to take a bunch of things and make sure that they all add together. If I find an outlier, then I go a different direction with it, right? Never thought book games would be so interesting. Yeah, this is fun. And it's been, like I said, 2 months, but it feels like it's been years because there's so many moving parts about that. I think that might, I'm guessing you're saying, be the combo instead of champagne. Yeah, certainly could, Han. So, or Han Lee, I don't know if you go by Han or if you go by Lee, but it certainly could be the case. I think what I was suggesting at the beginning was that it's a kicker, like champagne's a kicker. You only need one. You got to have 5 emeralds and then 1 champagne to get the rare thing, or something like that. Instead of needing 5 champagnes, that would be crazy. So that was the original thought, but certainly love this one of each of the frames feel to it. Yeah, Ryan, you're right. Gary gets satisfaction from toying with us. I always say, never forget, Gary's day job is marketing, building hype. That's what he does for his job. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. If you go back and watch some of his wine text videos from early on, he's posted a few recently on Instagram. It's hilarious, but it's him just trying to build hype, doing it back then on social media when social media wasn't even really a thing yet. So a lot of fun to watch and to see, and he's just getting better at it as he goes along. He's so experienced with it. Obviously, done it really well. Needed to. This was okay. Sorry about that. Low power on the phone here. Exactly what I needed to narrow down my focus to just select NFT projects. Trying to focus on only a few now. Great point, Taylor. So people ask me all the time, am I involved in other projects? I was like, I don't have time to be involved in other projects. As much time as I spend tracking this, how in the world does anybody do other projects? And I see people on Twitter and they're posting on this and that. The people that I find that are in multiple projects do this full time. Like they're in NFTs full time. Maybe they made a great bag and they quit their job and this is what they do. But I've very rarely found people who have day jobs and families and other activities and do multiple NFT projects. A lot of the people that I know IRL that do NFTs are like, yeah, I have one of those. I have one. Like, okay, cool. You at least know what I'm talking about. But very rarely do they get as deep as we're going right here with book games. But I also don't think the other projects are like this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you hear people talk. I talked to somebody today about Bored Ape, and they said their roadmap isn't. I mean, they did drop a coin. That's awesome, but they're not playing games like we are. They're not burning for things like this, as far as I know. So this definitely keeps us on our toes, keeps us watching and engaged. And even better, it brings us closer as a community, right? I look so forward to May to getting to meet a bunch of you in person. But I already feel like we're friends because we talk all the time, whether we're texting or chatting like this and going this way. Maybe we're in spaces together. So, I mean, this project to me is great just for that. And then we get to have fun, trying to make a little bit of money on the side as well. So kind of cool. And that goes back to you guys. Thank you all for being here and always providing good feedback. So, oh man, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to wind this down real quick. I will answer if you have some questions here. I want to answer those. I do want to obviously point you to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, follow if you would, turn on notifications. Sometimes I go live like this because Gary's in the chat and I'm like, oh no, I got to get in there. Just trying to get that for people who can't sit on the computer all day. So I appreciate you guys always being here for me. Let's answer these questions and then we'll close it down and call it a night for tonight. And then we'll pick back up tomorrow. So Bird, you said that's why he's always posting eBay listings and OS listings. He's constantly creating buzz, keeping the FOMO high every single day. V1 is a big move and that everyone needs one. I think V1 is going to be a big move. I think long-term investment, V1, it will be, he says it's going to be number one. I believe it. I believe it will be number one, just not able to get there today. Maybe one day I'll regret and say, in 2022, I had a chance to get there and I didn't. Maybe that will be the case, but again, pulling out my paper of what my strategy is, I'm trying to stick to that. Dave was in 3 projects. He found VeeFriends, eventually sold all for book games just because they had no time to focus on the others. That's right. It's it. And then try to make content like I'm doing so that other people can understand and know. I just want to make sure that when I'm making content that I'm clarifying and making things easier for people. I don't want to just word bomb it all the time. So it takes a lot of extra effort to make sure that this is valuable to you. So I definitely don't have time for other projects. I hope the hype doesn't die after April 5th and burning events because people are so involved and they don't fade away. Yeah. So, Jonathan, my timeline is, the public mint goes for 12 and a half days. You're going to see that for a while. Then you've got the burn somewhere in there, or excuse me, the friends list mint, 12 and a half days, the burn, public mint. I think that's going to take us through April. And then you've got 2 weeks where people are going to figure out what the market is. Hey, I want to sell really high, and maybe they can, maybe they can't, and it gradually comes back down as competition goes. And then Vcon hits, and I think Vcon is going to be an explosion of VeeFriends and book games alpha that's going to drive those prices right back up. Probably lots of opportunity to burn. I think there's going to be celebrities and access opportunities and events and groups to be a part of that are going to require a lot more book games tokens to be burned. And so I think that the floor is going to go right back up in Vcon. So it's just going to be constantly like this, but I think it's eventually going to continue to rise over time. That's just my thought. Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Love what you're doing for the people that don't consistently focus on Discord. Thanks, Unhinged. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. Taylor, thank you as well. Ryan, you said, I think Gary will keep new things in the pipeline to burn over the years. Book games take a backseat for a while. That'll be a good time to gather some before. Yeah, I kind of wouldn't be upset if people forgot, like the humility lava silvers, right? We said it here, but there's, just a few dozen of us here. If everybody forgets about that, let's say November time, I might snag a few and make sure I have those for when that becomes a thing in 2023. I think we're all going to be super burnt out after VF2 for a little bit. Then Vcon will hit. Yeah, it definitely is all consuming. So that's why you got to stretch, hydrate, do all those things. Take some time for your family. Make sure you're doing IRL things, activities. Go to the gym. I encourage that. And talk to your real life friends as well. I think I saw it on the video where Gary said, pick up the phone and call somebody you haven't called in a long time. Certainly should do that. I really appreciate you guys. Feel like we're friends already, but don't forget your IRL folks as well. All right, let's wrap it up here. Thank you all for being here. I look forward to talking to you in the Discord, on here, on Twitter at BusyNFT23, and we'll talk to you again soon. Web3 is the future. Book games is forever. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.